Every time Donald Trump opens his mouth, it seems like the markets collapse. It's almost like all the economists who warned that his policies would be catastrophic might have actually been right all along.
But very importantly, tomorrow tariffs 25% on Canada and 25% on Mexico, and that'll start. So they're going to have a tariff. So what they have to do is build their car plants, frankly, and other things in the United States.
The president did repeatedly seem to be ad-libbing when he was remarking on the expected impact of the economic decisions he's already made 6 weeks in, saying that the American people would have to bear with him, that there would be a little disturbance, that there would be an adjustment period. And again, he said a little disturbance, essentially suggesting that the roiling that we saw in the markets is something that he knows he caused, but he hopes people will not mind. For the record, the worst inflation in this country was in 1980. For the record, the economy that he was left by President Biden was not a catastrophe. It was literally the best economy in the world and was described by The Economist magazine as the envy of the world. For the record, U.S. auto company CEOs are not psyched and delighted and so excited about President Trump's economic policies, including his tariffs. Take, for example, the CEO of Ford, Jim Farley, who said that Trump's tariff policies would, quote, blow a hole in the U.S. auto industry that, quote, we've never seen.
You guys know, and you're ignoring what's going on, that these tariffs are bad for Americans. A majority know that it will raise costs. That's the reason they had to walk them back. Don't talk to me about India and the Indians being on Harley Davidsons. Talk to me about the automakers.
Move on
Stop
to
it.
Dana,
No, just one second here. 82% of Americans want Trump to be focused on the economy. Only 36% says that he's actually doing that. They know the tariffs are a loser. Howard Lutnick is trying to backtrack. Scott Bessent trying to backtrack on it. Well, it will bankrupt people.
You know what, Dana?
And we can't build a $4 billion plant overnight in the United States. So I think building in the United States is great. I think enhancing the participation from the other countries on the other things, but this is pretty radical.
I hear you. There you go, Maria, where the rubber meets the road here.
All right, great. Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, exactly. Jeff, thank you. Thank you so much. Jeff Flock at the Dodge Ram plant. Not plant. It's not a plant, Chris. They're selling cars. Thank you, dealership. But you know what? Let me ask you this, okay?
Yes.
How many Dodge Rams do you see driving around Europe? Okay. How many Dodge Rams do you see driving around India? I mean, not many, I bet. Why? Because they don't buy our cars. And that's what President Trump is trying to change. Maybe Dodge should start building them here and selling them here.
I mean, how much pain are we going to be willing to take in inflation if all of a sudden they hit us right back?
Remember, so you made one comment. So inflation comes from a government printing more money. Some prices can rise. This bottle of water.
It can't happen at all.
No, tariffs do not. Tariffs do not create inflation. Printing money creates inflation. You have a balanced budget. There can't be inflation. It doesn't mean one product could be more expensive and one product could be less expensive.
And it's not just the Dow Jones that's in free fall. You also have markets around the globe, particularly in Mexico and Canada and China and the UK. They saw steep drop-offs too when Donald Trump announced that we're going to be imposing tariffs on goods and services from literally our three biggest trade partners around the world in China, Mexico, and Canada. And if Trump or Mexico really cared about the deficit, as they pretend to, or about efficiency, that word that they just learned a week ago, they would be doing everything in their power to save the US economy from a devastating recession that all the experts have been warning them about. Instead, they're slashing services that largely don't save money, proposing massive tax cuts to the tunes of trillions of dollars for the ultra-wealthy, and imposing tariffs that will disproportionately affect working and middle-class Americans, including most of their own voters. And it remains to be seen whether any of Trump's lackeys and toadies around him will attempt, even briefly, to stop him before he drives us all off a cliff. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.